Welcome or welcome back to another video by the Circus system. My name is Autumn and I am here with another book review for you guys of the book First Person Plural by Cameron West, PhD. We are going to go over this book with the same kind of criteria we do with all of our book reviews, which is separating them into the main categories of a simple synopsis, something that would be like our version of what we put on the back of the book, our opinion on the writing style, quality of the writing itself, the DID portrayal and representation, and then our final thoughts. So, before we get into it, I'm going to list the trigger warnings of this book. I'm not going to talk about a lot of like the things in this review, but these are triggers in this book for if you were to read it yourself. Both mentions and in-depth discussions of rape, molestation, and incest, mental hospitals, medical hospitals, self-harm, suicide, and an extra little note: when children alters are present in this book, he does use kind of like baby talk, baby text, and I have met systems who that has been a problem for them, so I wanted to put that as a little warning as well. I have my laptop down here, that's what I'm looking at. First Person Plural follows the life of Cameron West as he discovers his DID and begins his treatment process. He's living in his 30s with his wife and son and running a business alongside his brother. He dealt with chronic sinus infections for most of his life, and as he jumped doctors to doctors, he finally found someone who was able to help with his sinus problems. But once those were healed, something else came to light. Cameron began to have repressed memories, and a child alter began coming forward. From there, he worked to find a therapist and began working to unlock his past. Through this, Cam learned that he had been abused by his mother and grandmother, and with that revelation, and with more alters coming forward, Cam was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. We follow Cam through his experiences dealing with denial, learning to coexist with his alters, and healing from his trauma. If you are someone who has been here on this channel for a really long time, you may know that we reviewed this book before in the previous iteration of our channel. And I love this book. I really do. I've read it before, and I would read it again, honestly. This is a library copy, and I'm so tempted to buy my own to annotate it. I feel like it is so extremely well written, and I love the way that Cam writes about his DID. There are certain parts where they'll go on little like tangents almost, and it'll show his internal discussions where it'll be like I almost want to know if I can find one. Oh. While I'm flipping through, he also has a lot of little things like this that are pictures and like scans of his various journals from this time. Okay, I'm gonna read a little part that is like minorly spoilery. They end up like moving at one point. But it's set up like just a single paragraph. So there's no like separations of dialogue, it is just a single paragraph. Inside, it went something like this. I want to go. You want to go? Yeah, I want to go. What about them? Well, I don't want to go. I like Arlie. So do I. Leaving Arlie doesn't mean we don't like her. Who'd look after us? Bart, Pear, Dusty, Ricky? But who out there? Who looks like Arlie? I don't know. Well, if we don't find someone, I'd miss Arlie. So would I. Why? Where's Arlie going? Arlie's not going anywhere. We're talking about moving to California. How come? To get away. From what? Bad guys? No, don't worry. There are no bad guys here. So why do we have to go? It just, the back and forth, I feel like is just so realistic. And so like real, just real. And I feel like a lot of things don't portray that in a way that I feel like only someone who is a system can. And we personally relate a lot to the way that he presents his system, and that just makes it a lot easier for us to engage. It definitely has its difficult moments, as he does very graphically talk about his trauma sometimes. And so that can be hard to get through, especially if it is a trauma you might relate to. But I feel like if you can do it, do it. It is a beautiful book. It is so well written. It talks a lot about his struggles with his wife during his time discovering his system and his diagnosis and all the things that came with that, because they had been married for over a decade at that point, I believe, and then all of these things were changing. So I feel like it could be a really good book for a partner, like a not system partner. I don't like the word singlet. A singlet partner of a system could read and like kind of understand as well. And he also gets his psychology degree, so on top of his personal experience of being a system, he has a lot of knowledge on the topic. I guess I'm kind of going off script because I love this book so much. So yeah, as a book is an absolutely amazing resource on DID. It is amazingly well written. It is a memoir from a system and a system who has a psychology and PhD. Cameron West is more than qualified to handle and discuss DID, and he does it so well. This book I really help feels like touch on every part of Cam's system and works really well to give them each their moments to exist and be heard. That's something I didn't mention. A lot of other DID books that I have seen and read really just focus on the host, and sometimes I can get that because the host is like potentially the one writing the book, but in this, Cam gives everyone a chance to shine and really talks about each of his alters and embraces them. And I feel like that might just be because it seems that in the end they chose more of a functional multiplicity versus a goal of final integration, which a lot of other books we've read that has been their goal. So I could see that being why as well. But it is something that's really, I would say, comforting to see as someone who isn't our host. But I am a co-host, so I don't know. I feel like it is a beautiful book, and I think it is a fantastic representation of functional multiplicity. Again, I keep going off script. Vanessa wrote this. I just love this book myself as well. So ultimately, we love this book. 5 out of 5. I would truly give this book a 5 out of 5. It is amazingly well written, and it has a story that is easy to follow, and it is an inspiring story. I think that it is great representation because, similarly to Breaking Free, the previous review we did, it focused on a masculine presenting individual, and I think you don't often see that representation in the community, and it can be comforting for those individuals. It talks about difficult traumas, but ones that people do struggle with, and it can be a wonderful resource for them. Overall, First Person Plural is one of the best DID books we have read so far, and I do stand by that as well. So yeah, First Person Plural, highly recommend this book. We definitely want to try to find our own copy to annotate it, and I just love it. Yeah, the next book that we are reading is a fictional representation again. I know we did 2 memoirs in a row. We want to kind of try to do a mix. But the next one is a fictional book. And we'll try to have some videos in between these book reviews. I don't want this to just be a book review channel, but we are just reading a lot more, and it is content we want to make. So if you have any videos you guys would like to see, leave them down below. We might start remaking some of our videos from like our previous channel iteration that did really well, to like remake them now with like our newer knowledge maybe. yeah, I think that makes sense. We also want to do like another part of the altar intro, but again, that just takes time and people who are comfortable sharing themselves. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and for your support, and we hope to see you guys in the next video, whenever next Saturday that might be. Bye guys.